Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today this is a request video and it is by the channel Where's Wes, but it is called 13 Things You Should Never Do in Poland. So that's what we're going to be checking out today. That sounds cool. Come along with me. Alrighty. Uh,
For
go.
a few months now, and I gotta say it's been awesome. However, my experience here has not been perfect, and there are a few things that I have done that have definitely rubbed Polish people the wrong way. So today I wanted to share with you things that you absolutely should not do here in Poland. So one of the stereotypes here is that Polish people don't smile. That's half true and half not true. It's more like they walk around with a resting bitch face all the time, I'm gonna be completely honest, but that's
Well, that is completely fine because that's probably how I look 3/4 of the time. I don't even pay attention half the time. But yeah.
just a part of the culture, especially if they don't know you. However, once Polish people get to know you, they are incredibly friendly and welcoming, small talk and everything. What I've learned is how to do the Polish smile, and the Polish smile is just like this. It's kind of like a half grin. You don't really show your teeth. You just kind of bow your head as a sign of respect. But it's not like people are going to be greeting you and
That's
welcoming you
funny.
super smiley like they are in a place like maybe Spain or Latin America. Don't be afraid to smile at strangers though. If you see a girl that you happen to think is very, very pretty, go ahead and smile. And if she likes you, there's a possibility that she will smile back. Just know that it's not the cultural
Okay.
norm here. And if people don't smile back at you, just don't take it personally.
See, that's why we're all confused here. We're just all smiling at each other and thinking we all like each other, and really it's just, yeah, it is definitely a lot different here. Like, I would rather be like that than like in my situation of like everybody smiling and everybody asking how you're doing, and you just constantly got to interact with people. um but yeah, that's that's that.
Let's talk about small talk. Slavic people in general are not really into small talk. People are generally minding their own business, as opposed to the US, where if we want to do anything, we always have to get the formalities out of the way. How are you? How's your family? How are you doing today? All of these things. Polish people are not like that. Polish people are a lot more direct. And this is something I've grown accustomed to because I actually like it. Slavic people are very honest
I think that's just that side of the world, it seems like, that's like that.
and direct people. Don't beat around the bush or anything. If you want something, just ask for it clearly. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. Number three, politics. You do not want to talk politics with Polish people. Now, if you are super well versed in it and this is what you study, sure, argue your point. But there are two things that Polish people love to do. They love to complain and they love to argue. As someone who is an outsider, I tend to stray away from talking about politics because one, I didn't grow up here, so I don't know the history behind everything. And honestly, it's just not worth the argument.
Well, he does need to learn the history, mister. Because there is a lot there. And
As someone who's an outsider, I tend to stray away from talking about politics because one, I didn't grow up here, so I don't know the history behind everything. And honestly,
um talking about politics, I don't think it's really been like a thing to not talk about politics. I've grown up in a house that was very political and still very political today, and both sides of the family is like really Republican. Uh, Here I am starting to talk about it. But anyway, it's just it was part of the norm. But then the whole after Obama, and then with Trump and Biden, here I am talking about it again. Um, and all that, it's just like everybody just stopped talking about it, and it was almost like people were losing friends over this. Um, because it was just it's such a left and right thing. It's not, it's like really far right and really far left. It's not anything. I mean, they're complete opposites. You get what I'm saying? It's crazy.
It's just not worth the argument that it's going to create. A lot of Polish family gatherings will eventually turn into talking about politics or religion, and people will be screaming at each other. Like, that's how intense it gets. If you are a foreigner here, just know that we're guests, and I try to stay away from talking about politics as much as possible. Something you definitely do not want to do here is say that in some of the more eastern countries, such as
what did I do there?
That in their culture, Poland is definitely a lot more westernized than some of the more Eastern Europe. They will correct you and say that they are do here. Try to stay away from talking about politics as much as possible. Something you definitely do not want to do here is say that Poland is a part of Eastern Europe. They will correct you and say that they are Central Europe, and they're very proud of it. And I can even see that in their culture. Poland is definitely a lot more westernized than some of the more eastern countries such as Russia and Ukraine. They're very, very particular about that topic. So if you are mentioning Poland, always say that it is Central Europe, not Eastern Europe.
Don't forget that. I will not forget that. I knew that, but kind of going back to the last topic is like with politics and stuff. That is something that I enjoy. Not necessarily as like I'm a pretty cordial person. I believe what I believe. I don't judge anybody for how they believe. I really don't care. It's just I think it's really important to me to stay up to date and everything else with that, because not a lot of people do. A lot of people are starting to now, but not so much. It's just, yeah.
There's also very strong anti-Russian sentiment here. In one of my videos, I openly stated that I wanted to learn Russian over Polish, not because I support the country, but because Russian is an infinitely more useful language. But just even saying something small like that, people were roasting me in the comments. So honestly, I would try staying away from that topic as much as possible. Another thing you should avoid doing is talking about how your country is superior to Poland. You have to keep in mind that Poland back in the day was quite a poor country. Okay, so apparently I got this fact wrong. Back in the day, Warsaw used to be seen as the second Paris, but because of the war, everything got destroyed. So I may have made a mistake on that, but I'm sure Polish people will correct me in the comments down below. So a lot of Polish people migrated into other countries, such as the US and a lot of places in Western Europe, and Polish people have been associated with being almost second-class citizens. That's definitely changing now because Poland is quickly becoming a strong superpower in Europe.
Yes,
but I think that reputation has put a large chip on the shoulders of Polish people. So a lot of Americans like to travel to other countries and use the fact that they are American to try to get girls. That does not work here. Polish people are very nationalistic. They are very proud of their country, even though they spend a lot of time complaining about it. So if you feel like you're superior in any way because of your culture, try to keep those comments to yourself. Another thing you don't
that's pretty much anywhere. It's like you don't want to come in already disrespecting the country. That's a given.
want to do here is flash your wealth. Polish people are quite humble by nature and they're very frugal. It reminds me a lot of Chinese people in this way. Slavic women get a reputation for being gold diggers, materialistic, and maybe that's a little more true in places like Ukraine and Russia. But Polish people, especially the women, are not like that at all. If you want to come here, try to be a big baller and flash your wealth to everybody, nobody's really going to be impressed by that because that's just not that important here. And if anything, it's going to attract a lot of the wrong people who only want to use you and take advantage of you. I know a lot of foreigners who have come talking about cold approaching the women here and saying that the women are quite responsive. However, I don't think it's just a norm in Polish culture, and since I'm here, I want to try to assimilate to how the Polish people do it. If you do approach a group of people, it's not to say that they're going to totally reject you, just know that that's not really in the cultural norm here. When people go out, people normally stay within their groups and don't really interact with each other. But honestly, I like the fact that everybody minds their own business because I feel like I can just walk down the street and people don't really pay attention to me. Also because there are
that is what I want. That's exactly what I want.
A lot of Asians here, I don't really stand out as much as I did when I was in Colombia. If you're going to be living here in Poland, try your best to assimilate. And I think this is just proper manners to do any country that you try to live in the world. I think a lot of people from the West and a lot of digital nomads will go and live in a place for a year or two, try to bring their home culture to wherever they're staying. Don't do that here. The Polish people will not take too kindly to that. So once again, my friend corrected me and she said that Poland is actually quite open to other cultures. They just don't like it when you try to pressure them into changing for your culture. And I think that's one of the main reasons why there's a lot of negative stereotypes against Muslims and African immigrants right now. However,
I love that he does that. Like if he gets facts wrong, I need to do that to mine because I'm not always right. I'm not always, I can be like acting like a matter of fact, but I am not always right. I admit that, but I try my best to be on board the best I can.
They do love Americans here, so you can say that you're probably American. Just try not to put Poland down in the process. Polish is a very difficult language to learn, so I don't think the locals expect you to speak super fluently, especially if you've moved here, because a lot of people here do speak English. I've been here for 7 months and I have not learned it yet because I know it's going to require a lot of dedicated effort. But I think showing basic respect for the language, learning some basic phrases like hello, goodbye, thank you, stuff like that will
Yes.
go a long way.
Yes.
So definitely show some respect for the culture and the language, even though I understand how difficult it is. Another thing that I found very funny is the fact that before you go into a Polish house, you have to take off your shoes. This is actually the same in Ukraine as well. I thought it was a uniquely Asian thing, but no, it seems like a lot of countries on this side of the world, even the Middle Eastern countries, require you to take off your shoes before entering the house. House slippers are definitely a must, and if you walk around the house with shoes or put shoes on your bed like a lot of Westerners do, don't do that here. You're gonna get yelled at. Polish are very clean people, and that's something that I heavily appreciate because their standard of cleanliness is quite similar to how I grew up in my Chinese household.
And just like all the roads that I've seen in these videos, they look really clean. I like it. It's very, very nice.
The thing you want to watch out for is speaking too loudly in public transportation. In some of the more Latin countries, maybe like Spain, Italy, the people are a lot more lively and it's a lot more common to see people talking in the subway. But here, people are quite silent, and it reminds me of maybe Germany. Austria is the same way. So if you go into public transportation, try not to make a lot of noise and be super loud with your friends. Just kind of keep things to yourself and generally be quiet on public transportation. Another thing you don't want to do here is jaywalk. Polish people like to obey the traffic rules. A lot of times if there's no lights or anything, the cars will stop and let you pass. But if you're at the corner of a crosswalk and the light is red, people will not cross the street. So definitely keep that in mind. And here
See, jaywalking, I thought it was always just like cutting across the street, not being in. Jaywalking refers to the act of crossing a street outside of the designated crosswalks or intersections or disobeying traffic signals while crossing a street. So that's where that comes in. Crossing the street diagonally, though, that's something here that I've come into a lot of times. I've done that many, 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 many times. But it's the roads here. It's not like it's not built for like it's built for vehicles. You know, it's not built for anything else. So
bonus tip, be a man of your word and be useful. I think there's an expectation, especially for men, that you can provide value and to be handy around the house, but just be able to do stuff, right? A common complaint that a lot of Polish girls say about their men is that they were baby growing up and a lot of them are mama's boys. So if you're a man and you're useful and you're always contributing value and you're handy and you're competent, I feel like that trait is very valued here. If you guys want to watch another video, I highly recommend this one. Did I miss anything?
I really enjoyed this video. And it was useful. Thank you very much. Where's Wes? That's the channel name. So if you guys want to check out his channel, I will have his information down in the description below for you. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.